So we continue with endocrine system, and we had in the first part seen the thyroid and the adrenal glands. Now we see the next part, that is the pancreas. So the next one is pancreas. Now as such, pancreas is the one which is having both the kinds of glands, that is exocrine also and endocrine also. We very well know that the digestive system in the digestive system, the pancreas acts as a very important organ because it produces a lot of amylase and the very kind of enzymes to digest the food. At the same time, so these are the exocrine part where there is a proper duct from the pancreas to the duodenum, so that it can be given to the digestive system. Whereas the endocrine part is the one which is going to be generating certain hormones, which are insulin, glucagon and somatostatin. So the pancreas is having both the kinds of glands, exocrine, which is duct wala also, and endocrine, which is ductless also. So let's see the pancreas as the endocrine gland. The pancreas is situated behind the stomach. Although it is mainly a digestive gland, it is a cluster of hormone secreting cells called islets of Langerhans. They secrete two principal hormones, insulin and glucagon. So what we see is the pancreas has got the section of pancreas is a particular kind of cells which are called as the islets of Langerhans. This islet of Langerhans produce two kinds of hormones. As well, there are many, but the two which you are going to study, the one is the insulin and other is glucagon. Okay, so we have got they secrete two principal hormones, insulin and glucagon. Now let's see about insulin. Now in our body, we cannot have more amount of glucose in the blood. Okay, the sugar content in the blood should be neither low nor it should be very high. If it is low, then the energy produced by the body will be low and will be always tired. So इसलिए low नहीं हो सकता. If the glucose content is high, then it will increase the thickness of the blood. If the thickness of the blood increases, then the blood will not be able to travel to the different small areas of the body, like small capillaries se wo ja nahi payega because it's thicker. So again a problem. So that's why it is required that our body or our blood maintains a proper concentration of glucose in it, and this concentration of glucose in the blood is monitored by insulin. So insulin is the one which is going to utilize the excess amount of the glucose which is present in the blood. So maintaining if the blood sugar level is higher, then insulin is the one which is going to make it lower and maintain the amount of glucose present in the blood. So insulin lowers glucose from the bloodstream in three ways. Okay, so insulin is going to lower down the blood sugar level or the glucose level from the blood. And how does it do it? It does it in three different methods. Any of those three different methods, depending upon what is the condition of the body, condition of the person, you will be using any of these three methods to lower down the glucose content in the blood. So first one is convert extra glucose to glycogen, which is ultimately stored in the liver and muscles. So अगर कहीं पे भी use नहीं है, किसी को भी नहीं चाहिए, okay, he will ask each and every cells and the parts of the body that okay, do you need extra energy, do you need glucose? Okay, अगर किसी को नहीं चाहिए तो वो क्या करेगा? वो glucose को it will convert the glucose into glycogen. So the glucose will get converted into glycogen. Now this glycogen is the one which is going to be stored inside the liver. So the liver is going to store the excess amount of glucose in the form of glycogen and वो the body में रखेगा कि हाँ कभी future में अगर ज़रूरत है तो I can give it to you. I can keep it stored in my liver so that whenever, suppose I am starving, or maybe I am having a condition where I am having a fast and I am going to fast for some multiple days, at that time to get the glucose in my body, I am going to use this glycogen and use it. Or maybe I am going to have a marathon run or something. At that time, I require more glucose. So in such conditions, the glycogen is going to get converted into glucose and it is given to the body. Second is induces the cells to burn extra glucose to produce heat and energy of the body. So first means it will tell the cells. Okay, as I told you, firstly क्या करेगा वो पहले cells को पूछेगा. So I would say that the second point should have come first. That is, it induces the cells. Okay, tell the cells. Okay, do you want it? You want to burn? You want more energy? Okay, it will induce the cell to burn off the glucose so that it produces more energy to the cells. So to induce more amount of energy to the cells will be the first criteria for the insulin, that it will try to utilize the glucose by inducing the cells to use it or burn it and produce energy out of it. Third, causes the cells to convert extra glucose into fat. So, and the third thing is that it will tell the cells to convert the glucose into fats and store it in the body under the skin. So, fats jo banta hai, that is also one of the way that glucose can be stored in the body. So, glucose can be stored in the body in the form of glycogen in the liver or in the terms of fats in the fat cells. Now, in case it so happens that the person is having a problem and there is an under secretion of insulin, then the person suffers from the famous ailment, that is diabetes mellitus. So, insufficient secretion of insulin causes diabetes, more correctly called diabetes mellitus. Mellitus means honey. So diabetes mellitus means diabetes which is caused due to the sugar content in the body. That's why diabetes mellitus. A diabetic person has a high concentration of sugar glucose in the blood. He excretes a great deal of urine loaded with sugar and feels thirsty because of the loss of water through too much urination. Usually he loses weight and tends to become weak. So when a person is suffering from diabetes, he will be, first of all, he will be having a good amount of concentration of sugar or glucose in his bloodstream, and that's why the urine what he will be giving out, that urine will also contain a good amount of sugar or in it. And because of diabetes, he will be having more amount of urine generation in his body. The urine generation in his body will be much more, and due to this more amount of urination, he will always feel thirsty, okay, because of the loss of water from the body. That's why he will always feel thirsty, and due to and accordingly he will lose weight, and also he will become weak. So these are the two another things which is going to be a side effects of diabetes, and that is loss of weight and also weakness. Now in certain person the glucose level comes down due to over secretion of insulin. This is very harmful and may have serious consequences. Now at the same time, we said that the under secretion of this thing causes diabetes. So under secretion will cause diabetes, okay, whereas the over secretion is also very harmful, because that could even lead to a person to go into a coma, because over secretion of insulin means reducing the amount of glucose present in the blood lower than what is required in the blood, in the body. So अगर वो बॉडी को जितना चाहिए उससे भी कम लेवल में ग्लूकोज आएगा so automatically the ATP cannot be generated, or we can say energy will not be generated in the body, and the body can go even into coma. That's why it causes serious consequences would be there if at all the person is suffering from a problem due to which the insulin content of the body increases. So in certain point the glucose level comes down due to over secretion of insulin. This is very harmful and may have serious consequences. Whereas the glucagon, now glucagon, what we are saying, it's doing the opposite of what the insulin does. When the body has less amount of glucose in it, then it tells the liver to convert the glycogen into glucose. Okay, this is glucose to glycogen is done by insulin, whereas glycogen to glucose is done by glucagon. So glucagon is the one which is going to convert the glycogen into glucose whenever the body requires excess amount of glucose for any particular purpose, or maybe it's lacking glucose in the body. So glucagon stimulates the breakdown of glycogen in the liver to glucose, that it raises the sugar level in the blood. So whenever the blood sugar level or the glucose level in the blood decreases, at that time the glucagon is the one which is going to act, and it is going to convert the glycogen present in the liver into glucose. So that's why glucagon is the one which is doing the work opposite to that of insulin. Insulin lowers the glucose level in the blood, whereas glucagon increases the glucose level in the blood. So that was about the third part of the endocrine gland, that was the pancreas. So first was thyroid, next is adrenal, and the next is pancreas. So thyroid produces thyroxine, adrenal produces medulla mein adrenaline and cortex mein cortisons, and pancreas produces in the islet or pancreas produces insulin as well as glucagon. Now we see the next part, and that is called as a pituitary gland. Now pituitary gland is a gland which is controlling these glands. Okay, that's a master gland. Okay, the pituitary gland is a master gland which produces hormones which will activate the functions of these glands. Pituitary gland will be instructing the thyroid gland to produce thyroxine. Okay, so that's why pituitary gland is a master gland. So we see over here, pituitary gland is a pea-sized gland located below the brain. So just below the cerebellum, there is a small pea size. Pea यानी वटाना, मटर. उतना छोटा सा एक particular gland है, that is nothing but the pituitary gland. It secretes several hormones, some of which regulate the activity of other endocrine glands. So the pituitary gland is also called the master gland. So you can see that the pituitary gland is producing a lot of different kinds of hormones, and some of these hormones are such that they are the one which are going to instruct, or they are the one which are going to regulate the activities of these other glands. So the one which because they are the pituitary gland ka enzymes or the hormones are going to regulate the activities of these glands, that's why pituitary gland is called as the master gland. So it is also called as a master gland because it is regulating the secretions or the activities of the other endocrine glands. Some of the functions of major hormones produced at the pituitary gland are: first one, growth hormone. I'll just keep on writing those. So the pituitary gland is going to produce the first one by the pituitary gland. First one is growth hormone. As the name itself suggests, it is related to the growth of the body. The overall growth of the body is going to depend upon the growth hormone produced by the body. So growth hormone regulates growth, especially in the adolescent years. Adolescent years is the one in which your the spurt of that particular age group of yours, where your height increases, your change in the voice takes place, your body is going to turn more feminish or more male one. So depending upon whether your body structure is going to change, with either your shoulders becoming broad or your waist becoming thinner and the hip part becoming broader. So all these are the we can say as the 6 characteristics of a person which are going to change in the adolescent period. So at that particular time, the growth hormone plays a very vital role over here. So it regulates the growth, especially in the adolescent years. Insufficient amount of growth hormone causes dwarfism, and excess secretion results in gigantism. So if there is an insufficient growth hormone, then it is going to cause dwarfism. Dwarfism means uska height chota reh jayega, you know. The dwarf, you know what is a dwarf. So it is dwarfism, and gigantism is the one in which the person is going to grow abnormally in size. So if that is the condition, then he will be growing much taller than what is the normal height range, and then it will not be normal height growth, it will be abnormal growth. That's why it is gigantism. The next is thyroid stimulating hormone. So the name again, it identifies this thyroid stimulating. Okay, the one which is going to stimulate the thyroid gland to produce the thyroxine, that is TSH. Okay, TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. So thyroid stimulating hormone is TSH. So this one was GH, growth hormone. This is TSH, which is the thyroid stimulating hormone. It is the one which is going to regulate the secretion by the thyroid gland. So stimulates the thyroid gland to produce thyroxine. The next is follicle stimulating hormone influences the production of sperm in males and ova or egg in females. So the next one is follicle stimulating hormone, that is FSH. So follicle stimulating hormone is the one which is going to influence the male sex organs and the female sex organs over there to generate their respective gametes. That is, the female gamete will produce the egg. Okay, the egg ka jo fertilization, egg ka jo maturation hai, that is going to take place with the help of the FSH in females. And in case of males, the formation of the sperm, the spermatogenesis jisko bolte hain, so the production of sperm is going to take place in the with the help of the follicle stimulating hormone. The pituitary gland plays an important role in the birth process, and it produces hormone which causes the contraction of the muscles of the uterus during childbirth. See, when the child is going to be born, at that time, the mother is going to push the baby outside the body. So when the mother needs to push the baby outside the body, at that time, the uterus which contains the baby, the muscles of the uterus are going to contract so that it can push the baby outside. Now, it is one of the hormone called as oxytocin, which is produced by the pituitary gland. Now, that hormone is the one which is going to produce the contraction of the uterus muscles so that the baby can be delivered easily. So that's why we are given over here that the pituitary plays an important role in the birth process, and it produces hormone which causes the contraction of the muscles of the uterus during childbirth. So the muscles of the uterus are going to be contracting so that the child can be pushed out. At the same time, there will also, this oxytocin is also going to produce the lactation, that is the mammary glands present in the female. The mother is going to start giving milk in her through her mammary glands. So the mammary glands are going to be activated with the help of prolactin, and hence the suckling of the baby, suckling of the baby is possible. So prolactin stimulates the breast to produce milk after childbirth. So after the childbirth is there, the breast of the female of the mother will start producing milk with the help of the prolactin. So these are the functions or the different kinds of hormones of pituitary gland. So we have a small table over here which is going to give everything in one go. The first one is thyroid, or which is located on the either side of the windpipe just below the larynx. The hormone produces thyroxine and the function is controls the metabolic rate. Adrenaline, like a cap over the kidney, hormone is adrenaline, prepares the body for any emergency situation. Pancreas is behind the stomach. Hormone is insulin and glucagon. It regulates the amount of sugar in the blood, and glucagon releases sugar from the liver. And pituitary is below the brain. Growth hormone is GH, speeds up the growth. And thyroid stimulating hormones stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. And the follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, stimulates the production of sex cells, gametes, in males and females. So this was about the different kinds of hormones produced by the different endocrine glands. So this was about the endocrine gland. So this is what we already completed, endocrine system. So endocrine system is completed with this particular part. Now we come to the next part of the chapter, that is adolescence. Now adolescence is a very critical age group. Okay, it's a very critical kind of age group. This is an age group wherein there are many changes coming up in your body physically, mentally, career oriented. So there will be lots of confusions within you. There will be so many different kinds of comparisons over there, too many peer pressure over there. You may feel left out, you may feel shy about certain things. There will be so many different kind of changes which are going to take place during this particular period of adolescence. And understanding this particular conditions, if you understand that yes, this happens to you and it's very normal to you, if whatever is happening is very normal. If today you got it, maybe tomorrow your other friend would get it, or maybe somebody may get it 1 year earlier, 1 year later. Kuch bhi ho sakta hai, but everybody is going to pass through this particular phase, right? So there is nothing which is wrong with your body. It is a natural process. So that's why there is nothing to worry about. So if we know that there is nothing to worry about, automatically it becomes easy for us to accept this particular adolescence phase and be more cautious about what are the possibilities of us going wrong in our future, which is more important for us rather than the some small happiness in the present. So let's see what are the different things, what happens in adolescence and what is adolescence. Growth begins from the day an individual is born. A newborn baby has a complete set of sex organs. However, the testes of the baby boy are not yet able to make sperms, and the ovaries of the baby girl cannot produce egg even though hundreds of immature eggs are already present in them. See, it is this way that the sex organs are there present in the male and the female child right from the birth. The male, there are testes which can produce the sperms. In females, there are ovaries which can produce the eggs, right? In fact, in females, the eggs are already present, only thing they are not matured. So if these eggs which are there or the sperms can be made in the testes is already present, the testes are already present, but they will not be able to produce them till the time the body has matured enough or reached an age where it has got matured enough to produce the sperm or matured enough to give the maturity to the egg. So that's why you can see that the testes of the baby boy will not be able to produce sperm, nor the ovaries of the baby girl be able to mature any egg which are already present in it. Growing up is a natural process. The period of life when the body undergoes development leading to reproductive maturity is called as adolescence. So as and when you start growing, so right from the birth you are on the, in a way, keeping on growing. So, and at a particular age, it will be at a particular age, your sex organs which are there, the testes, the ovaries, they are the one which are going to start maturing. They are the one which are going to start becoming active. So when this particular age is reached, when you reach an age where these sex organs are going to mature, is called as the age of adolescence. So that's why the period of life when the body undergoes development leading to reproductive maturity. What do you mean by reproductive maturity? The maturity in which the testes are now able to produce sperms and the ovaries are now able to mature the eggs present in them, is the age of adolescence. Adolescence is a traditional stage of physical and mental human development that occurs between childhood and adulthood. So it is the age which is in between the childhood and adulthood. बीच में का एज जहाँ पे वो चेंज ओवर हो रहा है. Okay, so that is that particular phase. That is a particular phase of the lifetime, of the life of the phase of the life cycle, wherein you are going to be changing over from being a child to becoming an adult. So that's why we see that growing up, the adolescence is a transitional stage. Okay, it's a transitional change. It's a change in which there is a transition taking place. There is a transitional change, that is the cycle, life cycle ka ek particular change, which is going to be produced from the childhood to the adulthood. The term adolescence is derived from the Latin word adoucere, which means to grow into maturity. It is time of rapid development of growing towards physical and sexual maturity. An adolescent is neither a child nor an adult. So this is the particular phase in which the physical and the sexual maturity is going to take place in the body. Okay, physically यानी, yes, you can see that अगर हम लोग चल रहे हैं और आगे कोई अपने आगे कोई चल रहा है at a distance, you looking at his figure from the backside, you can come to know whether it is a boy or a girl. If you see that the person has got a broader shoulder and a lower hip girdle, you can say that हाँ ये तो लड़का जा रहा है. और अगर कोई ऐसा कोई जा रहा है जिसका shoulders कम है, but the hip part is bigger, then automatically you can identify that to be a girl. Irrespective whether दोनों ने अगर jeans और t-shirt ही पहना है, फिर भी you can identify them as boys and girls quite easily because of the structural part over there. Now that structural part is going to be achieved by the body in this particular adolescent period. So there is a physical change as well as the internal sexual parts are going to become active. So that's why it's a adolescent period is a physical change as well as a change which is going to be a sexual maturity. The period between 10 and 19 years of age in an individual's life is called as adolescence. So between 10 and 19, okay, right from the age 10 to the age 19 is called as adolescence. Of course, in some kids, the adolescence starts at 12 or 13 or sometimes even 14, and some it will start at 10 also. That's why they started at 10. And by the time a person is 18 or 19 or sometimes even 21, the complete physical characteristics of the person are set. So normally by the age of 19 or 18 or 19, the person's physical characteristics are freezed. उसके बाद height बढ़ने का chances या उसके बाद वो थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. So that's why we consider that that particular adolescent growth time is from the age group of 10 to 19. It normally begins around the age of 12 and lasts up to 18 or 19 years of age. However, this period may vary from person to person. In girls, adolescence may begin a year or two earlier than in boys. So yeah, it is always going to be in such a way that there will be a difference between the maturity of a boy and the maturity of a girl. The girl normally matures faster than the boy. So that's why the maturity age of the adolescent age for the girls will be slightly lesser, around 2 years less than that of female. So normally the girls may start maturing by 10 or 12, whereas the boys will start at the adolescent age from 12 to 13. So that's why there's always a difference between person to person also. So this is just a general idea about this particular adolescence. Now, physical changes during adolescence. So I think I'll take this in the next video.